Jeff Hardings, and my hometown is St. Henry, Ohio. And I was at Penn State from 91 to 95. And my position was offensive guard. High school football coaching and substitute teaching at Worthington Christian High School in Columbus. Yeah, I think my recruitment started actually by going to football camps at Penn State. I was really interested in playing at the next level, and my high school football coach, maybe going into my junior year, invited me to go to a Penn State football camp. I think a big reason our little town was even on the radar was Bobby Hoying, a quarterback. He was a very high-rated quarterback, and Penn State, I'm sure, probably invited him to go to the camp. And while, to be honest with you, I don't remember if he went or not, myself and I know maybe one or two other players on my team went to that camp. And, I guess you don't realize it at the time. But, I loved it there. I loved the coaches. I mean, Joe Paterno was a very, they came off 2 national titles, and I loved winning. And I was, we won a state title in football at our school. So the ability, the opportunity, I guess you could say, to go to a school and have an opportunity to win a national title, that was very important to me. And then number 2, the opportunity to have a chance to play in the NFL was very important to me. I kind of felt like if I can start at Penn State even 1 year, I would be good enough to be able to go to the NFL and have a chance to play in the NFL. And that's what made me interested in Penn State. And then, of course, I wasn't the most highly rated player. Like, I would have probably been like a 3-star nowadays, maybe. So, I was getting letters. Maybe I would have been a 4-star, who knows? But I didn't have an opportunity to just go anywhere. So I was very grateful for the opportunity to choose Penn State over Michigan State, Indiana, Louisville. Ohio State came in the picture at the end. So, I had some other good choices, but to play for Penn State, get a national title, possibly play in the NFL, and I love the campus. So it was kind of a home run for me. Kajana Carter, best overall player. He's the reason why we had such a good year in 94. When I having played in the NFL, been around a lot of great leaders, been around some good teams, obviously won a Super Bowl. I realized the importance of player leadership. And Kajana Carter had a great confidence that year in us. And the defining moment, in my opinion, of that year was in training camp. And, Kajana, we had a bad day in offense in a scrimmage, and Kajana Carter brought us together and basically was like, that's not us, forget about today. Coach Paterno stacked the deck against us. He knows how good we are. So he tried to make it as hard as possible. And I think I walked out of the stadium that day and kind of felt like, man, this dude is like, he's confident in us. And I think it did me anyways, raised the confidence in me. And, we hit the ground running that year and just dominated a lot of teams. And, this side of a phantom holding call against Michigan, we would have been up 24-3 and probably ran away with that game. But, that's football. But the point is, like, once again, in that game, he always kind of kept us going. And, by far the best overall player. Obviously, we had some great players, Kerry Collins and Kyle Brady, and I won't even go into the list. Bobby Ingram, always came up with big plays, and we had offensive line, probably the best offensive line, in Penn State history. Definitely one of the best. Obviously there was a lot of good ones before that, but I don't think since then, we've had an offensive line like that. So it's hard to. You don't want to just point out one guy, but you asked the question. So, Kajana Carter would give my vote for number 1. Well, these kind of questions off the top of my head, there's always 2 or 3 that come to mind. I coach now. I coach football. And so, I learned a lot from Coach Paterno. I think probably the best funny Paterno story kind of is that he was always involved in everything. And just like I am now, looking around at everything. But obviously, these are very high caliber, explosive athletes running all over the place. And, I'm sure one time he was in the middle of the field as a safety, kind of in that spot in order to watch the play unfold. And whatever he was watching, he didn't see the receiver coming or the DB, whatever it was. And I mean, he got blasted. But he bounced right back up and started yelling at somebody. And even now I'm laughing because, as a young guy, you're looking at that like, are you kidding me? Like, Jeff Harding's, and my hometown is St. Henry, Ohio. And I was at Penn State from 91 to 95. And my position was offensive guard. Michigan, it was big. It was, a lot of fans, obviously, a lot of history. And I watched a lot of Notre Dame, Michigan games. So, there you go. Ohio State, I got to play in once. That was, I'm not going to call it the favorite because that was an ugly game for us, offensively. And, we got beat bad 26-6, I think, and weren't even in the game. That's why the next year was so good, because it was revenge. But the Fiesta Bowl was amazing. The Rose Bowl, obviously, the history, I would say when you talk about just the game, the history of that Rose Bowl and what we were playing for and on national TV, the only game on TV, I would say that would be the number one game that I played in. But Michigan was pretty cool because, and then Notre Dame. I forgot about Notre Dame. I'd probably I'm changing Notre Dame because it was my second year there. I was a freshman, redshirt freshman. And, the Notre Dame blood was still in me a little bit, just a teeny bit. You know what I mean? It's like I was, hoping they would do good in every game except ours. And so, to walk into that stadium was pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's hard to ever pick, out necessarily like the toughest time. I'll tell you a couple, I think, times that I struggled was, when we were 7-5, when I was I guess I would have been a sophomore or a freshman, sophomore, whatever you call it, redshirt freshman year, my first year playing, if you will. I really felt like that team was not, the seniors weren't really committed to winning as much as you needed to be, and quite frankly, as much as a lot of other guys were, and they were the leaders on the team. And I'm not saying all of them by any means. It's never all of them. They were just, I think anybody that played on that team understood that it was kind of like we.
Okay, we're gonna cut Jeff off there.
Okay,
sorry. I apologize to anyone who was listening for a few technical snafus. You are tuned into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, coming to you live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. That was a great interview I had a chance to do with Jeff Hardings, the All-American offensive guard from Penn State, member of the 1994 undefeated Rose Bowl champions, national champions, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
New York Times is concerned.
Sure.
Those who are loyal listeners to us here on our home station, 98.7 The Fox in Happy Valley, know that Jeff the Ironhead Byers has been out all week. He is prepping and is now out in Kansas City broadcasting the NCAA Wrestling Nationals and Penn State's pursuit of its next best national title. I am Chris Buchanani from the obligatory PSU pregame show, filling in for Ironhead, and filling in for the Goon is my obligatory running mate, the legendary campus icon himself, Mike the Mailman.
I can never replace Goon, but I'm there.
Yeah, well, you would need to put on about 350 pounds.
You're absolutely right.
First of all.
You're right.
But we are here. We're down at the Lube. The wrestling tournament is on. They got the multi-mat view going on one of the screens. We've got NCAA basketball on numerous screens. I talked about it on Tuesday. This is not a time of the year when you want to be without a comfortable seat, some good wings with a wide selection of sauces, a delicious adult bev, and a perfect view to multiple different screens showing you the latest action. And you can get it all here, plus some of the best service in Happy Valley at Quaker Steak and Lube. We're so happy to be here, and we're so happy for them to have us here.
Yep.
And Mike the Mailman, we're going to do what we always do when Ironhead's out for the wrestling tournament. Now, unfortunately, Goon can't join us this time, but we're going to break down the March Madness brackets that we have filled out. Personally, I can already reveal that mine is a complete mess.
Yeah, mine would probably be also.
Yeah,
so
yeah, this is going to be a wreck.
Whatever we tell you, go the opposite way.
I've got Goon. Goon sent me a bracket, so I can give you Goon's picks again. We'll go region by region. For those of you who are watching us on Facebook or YouTube or X, the Everything app, please don't laugh at me now, but I got to put on the cheaters.
Okay, that's okay.
I am at that age now, Mike the Mailman, where if I'm going to look at these regions, I got to get a little help.
Okay, that happens.
It happens to some of us, right? Right. You know, when you get old, it'll happen to you too.
Someday it'll happen. Yep. What do we got here?
All right. So what we are going to do is we are going to go region by region, as I said. And of course, there are some games that have been decided or will be in progress. But we're going to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to let you know what we picked because I can already disclose I had some major boners, including one which is your fault, by the way, Mailman. I'm going to lay the blame at your feet.
Of course.
For a major mistake I made. I just can't believe it. And I will review for everyone that we have been doing this show. Like I said, usually it's Yumi and Goon for about 5 or 6 years now.
Yep.
And I think your bracket has ended up out of the three of us the winner every single time.
Yeah. So it's due not to this time. So.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to adjust our camera view a little bit here for the live stream viewers. The radio audience just gets to listen to us. So lucky them.
Yeah.
All right, let's start in the East with the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. We've got UConn facing off against what I believe is a brand of over-the-counter cologne, low-budget cologne.
Oh, yeah.
Stetson, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
the
right.
cologne, right? Stetson cologne.
The Hatters. They used to make hats, too. Section hats. Oh, yeah. I used to have one, actually.
I assume you got UConn moving on.
Yeah, moving.
Yeah. They're a great team.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now this 8-9 matchup in the East, Mailman, I think brings a lot of intrigue because you've got FAU, who was one of the surprise darlings of the tournament.
Yep.
And they're facing off with Northwestern, a team that, frankly, I think you got to give Chris Collins, who's the son of Doug, the former number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, former head coach, long time, Chicago Bulls, Detroit Pistons, Philly 76ers. He has done such a commendable job making Northwestern basketball about as competitive as I think you can possibly hope for if you're a Northwestern fan. And the fact that they managed to have a season that sees them sneak into the tournament, pretty good work there by Chris Collins. Nevertheless, I think it's probably maybe the most intriguing 8-9 matchup in the tournament. And I know you're not a big fan of the Big Ten Conference this season.
No, not this year. No, I have San Diego State. So, I mean, Northwestern played well. You're
Florida
right.
Atlantic, you mean?
Huh?
You said San Diego State.
Oh, yeah. Florida Atlantic. That's exactly.
Maybe you do need glasses.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah,
we both took FAU in that one.
Yeah, okay.
So San Diego State's next line down.
Oh, yeah.
They're the 5 seed in the East, and they are taking on the Blazers of UAB, infamously involved in that maybe not point shaving situation with the Temple Owls, and also
that's right.
the victor over Temple in blowout fashion to win the AAC tournament.
That's
so they come in hot. Winners of at least 6 straight because they had to win the tournament and then finished off the regular season with a win. And they are facing off against the Aztecs, San Diego State. Who you got?
San Diego State.
Yeah?
Yeah. Why not?
You big San Diego State guy?
Yeah. I just
another team who had a big run last year.
This
is a loaded region.
I don't know a lot about the Western Coach teams, but I've been hunched on San Diego State. That's all.
Well, that's our first divergence. I went with UAB there. I've got a chance to watch them play just by happenstance several times. So that's probably disclosing my bias right out of the gate. And I think that's, if you're looking for a juicy 5-12 matchup possibility, I think UAB is a good pick there.
Yeah. We'll see.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Now, people should not listen to anything we're saying. Maybe they should listen to you. Certainly not me.
No.
In making these picks. I mean, most people have already filled out their brackets.
Oh, yeah.
This is just kind of for fun at this point. I think I've told the story when we've done this show before, but at this point, it's practically a tradition that the worst bracket I ever filled out in my life was a year when I got super sick the week leading up to the tournament. I don't get sick very often, but when I do, if you hear I'm homesick, it means I'm really sick. And so all I did was lay on the couch for like 3 or 4 days. And it happened to be including the Monday through Wednesday leading up to the tournament. And all I did for those 3 days was sit on my couch and watch CBS and sports and ESPN and consume all of the analysis from the quote-unquote experts.
Oh, yeah.
So I let them infect my brain before I filled out my bracket, and it was a total disaster.
Yeah, I never listened to this.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. And in fact, historically, the stupidest ways to pick brackets have been the most effective.
Oh, yeah.
And the one that I always like is to just pick which mascot would win in a fight.
Yep.
And you just favor the mascot that would win. And so, like, when you look at San Diego State versus UAB, now an Aztec, Aztec Warrior, that would be typically a pretty intimidating mascot, except UAB is a dragon.
Oh.
A blazer. It's like their logo, though, is a dragon. So I think a dragon would still probably beat an Aztec. So there you go.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Some people pick by colors, too. What color they like.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, just don't try to use any sort of intelligent form of analysis.
No, it never happened.
The 4-13 in the East is Auburn versus Yale.
Yeah, I have Auburn because I don't know. I think because of competition more than anything.
Yeah, I like to take the Ivy League upset when I can. But first of all, I'm a little salty at Yale because they beat Brown in the Ivy League tournament. That was such a good story this year. It was a great game. It was a great game.
I watched that.
I was pulling for Brown because I know they haven't won the Ivy League tournament in like forever. Yeah. And that's Joe Pa and Bill O'Brien's alma mater, right? So, it's kind of like we'll call them our sister school to Penn State, since Brown has given so much to Penn State. So I was rooting for Brown. Yale beat them in the final of the Ivy League tournament. And we'll talk about it as we go on here. I like Auburn this year a lot.
Okay.
So, all right. Now, Mike, this is where I got to blame you, man, because you can actually see I filled my bracket out here in pencil.
Yeah.
And I got an eraser mark right here. BYU facing Duquesne.
Yeah.
All right. My heart wanted me to take the Dukes because they're an in-state school.
That's right.
I know some people who went to Duquesne. I just thought it was such a great story, and they're playing a good brand of basketball. But BYU is, playing at a very, very good basketball conference.
Yep.
They had a great season. Yep. I do like their team, and but nevertheless, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with the Dukes. And then I heard in my head, what does the mailman say to close out his Trends to Treasure segments? What's your line?
Oh, bet with your head and not with your heart.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm betting with my heart here. And I erased Duquesne, and they smoked BYU.
I did? Oh,
they smoked them. So I had the Cougars, and I had them going all the way to the Elite Eight, and instead they're out in the first round.
Wow. I had him in my football contest, too, and I'm out of my contest. Jeez Louise. Okay.
So who did you have?
I had BYU.
And how far did you have them going?
They were going to lose next to Illinois.
Okay. All right. So, I don't like Illinois very much. But, you know what? See, my biases creeping in, Mike. I had, we can just see we both had Illinois winning the next game down here.
Let me tell you about Illinois.
Morehead State. Go ahead.
The best guard ever played against Penn State I ever saw was D'Angelo Russell. Ohio State. And I really think that the next guy is a guy from Illinois.
Shannon.
No, Marcus Damas.
Okay.
I think he's the catalyst for that team. They don't have a lot of defense, Illinois, but they run it up. They're about the quickest team I've ever seen here.
Yeah, they can score it.
Michigan State's quick, but Illinois, I think, are really quick. I really like Illinois. I have them going quite a way.
So see, I'll go there again. My bias creeping in. I watched Penn State upset Illinois at Rec Hall, and as I say always, if I see your team lose in basketball to Penn State, like I can't take you seriously as a program. So I had Illinois getting bounced in the second round because I'm like, these guys, they lost to Penn State. I mean, how good could they be? Okay, now I'm curious to hear where you're at on the 7-10 in the East. The 7 seed is Washington State, who was bounced early from the Pac-12 tournament, despite being the favorite to win. By the way, as a result, ensuring that there would be an additional Pac-12 representative in the tournament.
That's right.
And that extra money, as a result, would flow into the Pac-12 coffers, which are now, by law, exclusively controlled by Oregon State and Washington State. So chestnut checkers there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mailman.
That's great. I like Washington State because of the fact that they won the tournament. I mean, they won the season series. They were the winner of the Pac-10, right? Pac-12.
The regular season title.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a tough conference. I like that conference.
You know what? I took Drake, the 10 seed, to upset them, and I've got no good reason for that other than there's always some Cinderella team with a funny sounding name that you're barely aware existed before the tournament starts. And I just randomly decided that Drake was going to be that team for me this year.
Okay.
Now the 215 in the East region is Iowa State versus South Dakota State.
Yeah.
I have Iowa State winning.
I do too. Yep, Iowa State.
Okay. All right. So let's see how our picks match up against the Goon. Goon has Northwestern beating FAU.
Okay.
So he disagrees with us there. He agrees with me. He took UAB to face off against Auburn. So we're in agreement there. Also, Goon aided on BYU facing Illinois. And so he's with Mike the Mailman. He's got Washington State versus Iowa State.
That's right. Okay.
Okay, so now let's talk about who's in our Sweet 16. Let's just rattle them off, and then we can talk about who beat who. So give me your Sweet 16 teams out of the East.
I have UConn.
Yep.
Auburn.
Yep.
Illinois, and Washington State.
Okay. So I have UConn versus Auburn. I got BYU in there. All right, that's already a loser. And like I said, I randomly selected Drake to upset Iowa State. And this is why I picked Iowa State to lose early. Again, I should probably not touch any analysis, but I read some good nuggets about the high failure rate of teams that enter the season unranked and earn a 1 or a 2 seed in the tournament. And so I thought to myself, in terms of athletic brands, which school to me that fits those criteria seems most likely to bite it early, especially to a team named Drake?
Yep.
And I was like, this is too perfect. So okay, so I picked them over Iowa State. Goon has UConn and Auburn and Illinois and Washington State. So you guys are tracking pretty closely.
Oh, yeah.
And then give me who you have in your Elite Eight and then making it to the Final Four line out of the East region.
I have UConn and Illinois.
Okay.
And down below here, UNC.
No.
Yeah.
And then you have Illinois in the Final Four.
Final Four, yep, Illinois.
Okay.
Yep, that's right.
All right, so let me see how you track with Goon. He has UConn and Illinois.
Okay.
And he has UConn in the Final Four. UConn's a really good team.
Yeah.
I have Auburn upsetting UConn.
Oh, okay.
Because something tells me UConn is not going to repeat. And so
that's hard to do, true.
It is. Although if anybody's going to do it, I mean, I think
I've seen them play. They look really good. On any given night, of course, anything can happen. But Auburn's played well too. So what can you do?
In the argument of who qualifies as a blue blood program in college basketball, I think at this point, if you are not including UConn in that group, you're a hater.
Yeah.
If there's a program that can repeat and just we reload and get back and win again, I think it's UConn.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to do it. I for whatever stupid reason, I have kind of a soft spot in my heart for Bruce Pearl.
Okay. Oh yeah.
As a Penn State guy, he should probably represent everything I think is wrong with college sports.
You're right.
But at this point, college sports is so massively messed up. Like, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, right.
In fact, I think representing everything that used to be wrong with what used to be college sports in the modern environment is probably a feature and not a bug. So I got the Auburn Tigers going all the way to the Final Four.
Wow.
So
does Goon have Illinois also? And
he does not. He's got UConn. He has UConn defeating Illinois.
Okay.
U of Illinois. So I have Auburn Goon has UConn, you have Illinois.
Wow.
So all three of us have a different team in the Final Four out of the East region, which is not surprising because that is a stacked region.
That is. I think it is too.
It's got some really good teams, and there's some potential for upset. But also, I mean, like San Diego State is a 5 seed.
I know.
To face off against Auburn in the second round, like if they can get past UAB, which Goon and I don't think they will. But if they do, that's a heck of a round of 32 games.
You're right.
Auburn versus San Diego State.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be a fun region to track. And when we get back from the other side of the break, we're going to move downward in the bracket. We're going to talk about the West region, and we will do that after we pay some bills. You're listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, coming to you live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube on 98.7 The Fox. We'll be right back.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, handsy busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are live at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College, a wonderful place to come down and check out all the March Madness and NCAA wrestling tournament action and get the best selection of wing sauces in Happy Valley. Enjoy an adult beverage if you are of a mind, and enjoy terrific service. They're always so welcoming, not only to us, but to everyone here at Quaker Steak and Lube. I'm Chris Bucanani, joined by Mike the Mailman. We are filling in for the Ironhead and the Goon. Jeff Byers, of course, in Kansas City, broadcasting Penn State's run to another national title in the NCAA wrestling tournament. You can catch that on ESPNU, is where they're broadcasting the first round matches right now, or you can log on to gopsusports.com and stream the audio version, which is the best way to experience Penn State wrestling, as brought to you by the Ironhead.
Could we go back to the East section just for 1 second?
Let's do it.
Where's Drake located? Are they in Iowa?
That's a wonderful question. I will look it up because I have no idea. I know nothing about Drake.
The only reason I asked that, I'm a big wrestling fan.
Okay.
It's hard for me to play anybody from Iowa.
I see. You know what? That sounds right to me.
See, like they have a good track and field there or something.
Okay, let's see. I got the rapper Drake. I got yeah. Okay, wait. Hold on. I gotta be a little more specific here. Drake University. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, so
Des Moines, Iowa, Michael.
It's hard for me to take anyone from Iowa.
I don't blame you.
I like all the other players. It's just some coaches from Iowa I'm not fond of. I think they're brothers. I think
yes.
Anyways, let's move on to the West.
Clowns.
I know.
I mean, absolutely ridiculous human beings. All right.
Back to basketball.
We are going through our NCAA tournament brackets. I have disclosed that I bet with my head and not with my heart, and it's bitten me horribly because I foolishly believed in the BYU Cougars when I should have just taken the in-state darling Duquesne Dukes.
Oh, you gotta love them.
And I have already trashed my bracket as a result because I had BYU going far because I don't believe in Illinois because I watched them in person lose to Penn State in basketball. All right. So don't listen to anything I say, but you may want to listen to Mike DeVille.
I don't know about that.
Okay. This is an interesting region, Mike, because it's got the West I'm talking about because it has two of my favorite teams of the whole tournament. North Carolina, who has Armando Bacot, who might be my favorite player in college basketball right now. I love that guy. He, to me, when I watch him play, his game, we were talking before we were on the air today, Mailman, how much I loved the NBA during the 1990s.
Oh, yeah.
I've kind of fallen out of love with it a little bit as they've made rule changes to favor the offense so much. I enjoyed at times I wearied of the physicality of 90s NBA, but in seeing the alternative to it that we've had this century, like I find myself nostalgic for it.
Right.
And Bacot reminds me of a guy who could have played in that era. And I really like him. This is his last go around with North Carolina, the 1 seed in this region. But I really like Arizona also. Now they burnt me quite horribly last year, and yet foolishly you're going to see I'm doubling down.
I know. I have UNC also. I have them also in the first round. Then we have Mississippi State and Michigan State.
Yeah. Well, now I believe you and I both face planted on this one as well. Is that right?
Yeah. I just don't think, other than Illinois and Purdue, I don't think the Big Ten was good this year. So
right. Fade the Big Ten. It seems to be like one of the most reliable strategies you can take in filling out your bracket. Yeah. And I thought about this one a lot. Now, spoiler alert, everybody. If you haven't seen Mississippi State lost, they got smoked by Sparty. And that's typically the way it goes with Michigan State these last several years, right? They have a little bit of an underwhelming season. Expectations, by the way, very high for them, and they just went immediately down into the sewers, and then they crawled their way back out.
And they talk about how Izzo is always very good in the NCAA tournament, and he is.
But I just thought this was a year it wasn't going to come together.
I agree.
Well, I mean, it shows how much we know. I'm curious where the Goon went on this one, because I think I like Tom Izzo.
Oh yeah.
I think if anything, I got a little bit of a Big Ten bias, especially when it comes to him.
Yeah.
Because he's an old school guy. I'm an old school guy, but I just didn't think they were going to pull it off this year.
I thought
Goon disagreed, so he had Michigan State.
Okay.
So, but actually, folks, maybe what you ought to do is listen to Goon when I give you the picks.
Stay with Goon.
Yeah. Okay, so the 5-12 in the West, you got St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon.
I've not seen Grand Canyon play, but I have seen St. Mary's play a couple times. I like St. Mary's. I
took Grand Canyon in another 5-12.
Hey,
I know nothing about them, but I am again. I picked up a couple of tips and stats on St. Mary's on Twitter.
Okay.
Having these bracketologists, again, probably a dangerous thing, but there are some teams. I'll throw Gonzaga into this group, although they've almost transcended it. But some of these, like high mid-major conference winners that managed to break through into national prominence, where they're getting seeded somewhere in the like top 5 seed range. Once you get up to that point, you develop a little bit of a brand equity, right? Where you get the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
And that extends to the level of competition you play throughout the season. And so, you know, again, you watch St. Mary's more than I have, but I am always skeptical of teams that are not facing difficult regular season competition. The one thing you can say, going back to Michigan State, Mississippi State, and what do we think of the Big Ten? It might not be a great year for the conference, but the proving ground of the Big Ten regular season is very rigorous, right? Even in a down year, you're seeing a lot of good players and a lot of well-coached teams. So anyway, that's why I took a flyer on Grand Canyon there. Alabama versus College of Charleston in the 4-13. I took Alabama there.
I took Alabama also. Yep.
Now this is an interesting one, super interesting to me. Very intriguing matchup. New Mexico is the 11th seed facing number 6 Clemson. Who you got there?
I have Clemson. I don't know. Once again, I've seen most of the teams I'm picking are teams that I've watched 2 or 3 times. The other teams I have not seen often.
What do you think about the ACC this year?
Pardon me?
What do you think about the ACC this year, conference depth-wise? The committee clearly did not think much of it, because if you look at Pitt's resume, they blamed it on their non-conference scheduling. But I mean, like, come on, I've seen plenty of teams get in with kind of soft non-conference schedules. I think the committee was down on the ACC.
I thought Pitt was going to be in. I was surprised.
I did too. It pains me constitutionally to say it, but I think they should have been in.
Right.
Nevertheless, I also don't love the ACC. I took New Mexico to pull that upset as well. And then I had Baylor over Colgate in the 3-14 in the West.
I have Baylor, yep.
And I also have Dayton.
Dayton, I also have Dayton.
I like Dayton a lot. I think it is a shame. I have them over Nevada. I mean, that's a 7-10 matchup. Don't sleep on the Wolfpack there. Well, so you got the mascot matchup. You've got a pack of wolves, right? That's Nevada, right?
Yep.
Versus a flyer. Now, I think that Dayton, I think it's like an airplane or something, right?
Yep.
With Dayton, Ohio, right? But, you and I, we think of something else.
Yeah, we do.
So when we think of the Flyers. So let me just say, if the Broad Street Bullies took on a pack of wolves, who you got?
Both the Bullies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dave Schultz alone. I think just Dave Schultz versus a pack of wolves. I bet my mortgage on Schultz. So I got Dayton moving on there. And the 2-15 is the Cinderella Long Beach State. This is going on right now versus Arizona.
Every year I pick Arizona to win, and every year they lose.
And they're terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Same thing. I get suckered in every year. But I come crawling back for more. And
but I like them this year. I really like them.
Too.
Okay.
I do too.
Okay.
And I have them winning. So let's see how you and I stack up versus Keith the Goon Conlin in the West region. So. He has North Carolina versus, I already mentioned, he took Michigan State. He also has Grand Canyon pulling the upset, probably with about the same level of forethought and consideration that I put in versus Alabama. Man, the Goon and I are aligned here. He has New Mexico upsetting Clemson. I like that one a lot.
Good.
I feel good about that one versus Baylor. And he apparently did not think through the Broad Street Bullies versus a pack of wolves
obviously not
analogy. And he took Nevada to upset Dayton in the first round. I like Dayton's team. They're a good story this year. He has Nevada versus Arizona. So let's go back and let's talk about our Sweet 16 in the West region, Mike.
UNC and St. Mary's.
Wow, really? You have St. Mary's over Alabama?
Yeah, I do.
Huh.
And then I have Baylor and Arizona. I know.
Okay, well, you and I have 3 of the same teams, and I imagine we're going to match up probably with Goons. We'll see here in a moment. But I have Alabama moving on. Okay. So I have North Carolina versus Bama and Baylor versus Arizona. in the West region, Sweet 16. Let's see. Wow. So Goon is very different.
Is he?
Now, let me give you this one, Mike the Mailman.
What's he have?
He has the Michigan State Spartans defeating the North Carolina Tar Heels and advancing to the Sweet 16.
Wow.
And they would face the Crimson Tide of Alabama.
All right.
Then he has New Mexico going all the way to the Sweet 16 and facing number 2 Arizona.
Wow.
How about that?
That's good.
I'm waiting to get a score update here. Yeah, okay. So Arizona, Long Beach State, just to talk about this game for a second. This was probably the feel-good story of this year's tournament because prior to their conference tourney, they fired their head coach, but just said, out of deference, respect, you can coach the conference tournament. I'm sure they probably thought they were getting bounced to the first round.
Question.
They're like, we'll let the old man coach one more game. Well, what harm could it do? And all they did was go on a Cinderella run to their conference title and make an appearance at the NCAA tournament. But they are down 65-49 with 9.5 minutes left in the game to Arizona. So it looks like the 2-seeded Wildcats will not break our hearts just yet.
Yeah, good.
Mike the Mailman. And that'll be the end of the Cinderella story for Long Beach State, but a great one.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very cool story. I think they should just, you know what? Life's too short to not correct a mistake you've made. And just go back hat in hand and give the guy his job back.
Absolutely.
Right? You haven't probably identified his replacement.
Yeah.
Can't we just have in these trying times of division, Mike, can't we just have a little conciliation?
That's what we need. We need more of that.
I know you would be on board with that,
I am,
Mike the Mailman. By the way, everybody, if you're just tuning in, it is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. You're listening to 98.7 The Fox in Happy Valley, or maybe you're getting us on the live stream. We're at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. I'm Chris Bucanani. He's Mike the Mailman. You can see us in the fall on the obligatory PSU pregame show. We're filling in right now for Keith the Goon Conlin and Jeff Ironhead Byers. Jeff out in KC broadcasting the NCAA wrestling tournament, where despite a couple of first-round losses, it seems more or less things are going to plan for the Nittany Lions.
Yep.
But
it's a long tournament, But
tough. So,
but if you wrestle to your seeds, you're going to win the tournament. Yeah, got to wrestle to your seeds
for sure. So K-Sac and Truax. Nagao. K-Sac and Nagao, Aaron Nagao and Tyler K-Sac losing early today. But
they can still come back and do some damage.
They can still come back and do some damage, and maybe the early loss is a motivator for them. If we've been talking for a long time now about this team's talking about NCAA wrestling for Penn State, this team's potential to do something historic, which is to win the team title, place all 10 of its wrestlers as All-Americans, which has only been done once by Minnesota. And ironically, they had no finalists.
That's right.
So no finalists, but 10 All-Americans. So
they have 2 4-time winners, too. Aaron Brooks and unbelievable.
And the other milestone they're chasing is the total points of 170, which is held by Iowa.
Yeah.
So, the idea was if you could do both, if you could break both or tie, you can't break 10 All-Americans, but to repeat Minnesota's one-time only feat of 10 All-Americans plus set the all-time tournament scoring record and in all likelihood have some national champions, including maybe 2 4-time national champions. That would cement you as the all-time greatest team in the history of college wrestling. And I talked to you, Mike, on the way over here about how it is an unbelievable blessing, like the true definition of an embarrassment of riches, to be at the point where just winning a national title, just bringing home a lot of individual national championships it's got to be almost ho-hum, right? And you don't want to take it for granted. One day this is going to come to an end, and we need to enjoy the ride for as long as it lasts. But man, what an unbelievable time we're having here in Happy Valley
and
Penn State Wrestling.
And 2040 is not that far away, so it could come to an end. You're right. 2040.
Yeah. I got you, Mike.
Listen,
You never know, folks. The solar flares, UFO invasion, nuclear war.
That's right.
It could come to an end, so just enjoy it while you got it. Let's go back to these NCAA tournament brackets. Boy, I am heaving a sigh of relief because Long Beach State was keeping it close with Arizona for a while, and I thought, oh my God, is the fix in, right? With this guy's story, but is it just all the feel good vibes? And is Arizona going to burn me again? Brutal. I can't believe I didn't pick Duquesne. I should have done it. Okay, all right. So let's talk about our Elite Eight teams out of the West. And the team we have going to the Final Four. Do you want to go first or shall I?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have North Carolina facing Arizona, which, if it happens, I think is the best game in the tournament. Okay. I love that matchup.
I have Illinois versus Arizona.
Okay. And I have Arizona advancing to the Final Four.
Likewise.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So, you said Illinois. You meant UNC.
Illinois versus Arizona. And UNC and Arizona. I took Arizona.
No. UNC.
UNC. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you said Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Illinois versus Arizona. You have the exact same Elite Eight and Final Four that I do out of the West. And Goon.
Sorry.
Goon is all over the place. He is really different. Just to review. So the Goon usually does this show with us. He's not here today. He sent me his bracket. I'm just going to give you folks, in case you missed it, his Sweet 16 in the West region. He's got Michigan State, the 9 seed, versus the 4 seed Alabama. Yep. New Mexico, the 11 seed, versus Arizona, the 2 seed. In the Elite Eight, he's got Alabama versus Arizona, and the Crimson Tide going all the way to the Final Four.
Does Goon know it's basketball, not football?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Check Goon out. Wait a minute. Come on, Goon. He knows.
So we are going to hop to another break. And when we come back, we'll probably maybe talk a little bit more college wrestling at some point during the show, but we're going to get to the other side of the bracket. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, broadcasting live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. We're on 98.7 The Fox, and we will be right back after this.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, hands it, busboy. Your wings suck. I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. Coming to you live from Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. I am Chris Bucanani. I am joined by Mike the Mailman. We are quite obviously neither the Goon nor the Ironhead, at least not the. A Goon and Ironhead, perhaps, but not the. Jeff, as most of you know, if you've been listening or even if you haven't, is in Kansas City, Missouri right now, calling for the Penn State Sports Network, the Nittany Lions wrestling team in the NCAA Wrestling Nationals. Things going relatively well, Mike, for Penn State so far. A little bit of a disappointment in Tyler Kasich and Aaron Nagao falling in early action today, but they still have an opportunity to regroup and score points for their team and do well for themselves. I mean, ultimately, like best case scenario, they could both finish third in their weight classes, right? So we're going to hope for that and root on those guys. And otherwise, it's been smooth sailing, big wins so far for all the Nittany Lions who have wrestled in early action. And we appreciate you being with us here on 98.7 The Fox or on the live stream. As we do every year around this time, Mailman and I are going through our NCAA brackets. Gooden couldn't be here today, but he did send me his picks, and boy, did he!
He really is throwing some curves.
He had a real doozy out west.
Wow!
Some big time upsets, including he had Sparty going to the Sweet 16, and Michigan State has already defeated Mississippi State today, but he's got Alabama. In the Final Four, coming out of the West region of the bracket. So no love for the two teams you and I both like a lot in North Carolina and Arizona. And I think you and I let's see, you said you had Arizona. Yeah, you and I both took Arizona. So I have Auburn and Arizona on the left side of the bracket in the Final Four, and I'll go ahead and disclose I've got Arizona winning that game and playing for the national title.
I have Illinois and Arizona. I have Arizona winning that game also.
Yeah.
You're in Arizona. I can't believe neither one of us learned from past Arizona years, but we still suck with them.
You know, there's something stupid in our brains, Mike, that is just telling us like it's like sunk cost fallacy, right? Like I've already failed so many times on Arizona, they're due, right? Like, these guys, like they can't be this good so many years in a row.
You know what they say? The more you lose, the closer you are to winning. So we're hoping.
Exactly. To paraphrase Rick Pitino, who is not coaching in this tournament, but probably should be, Lute Olson ain't walking through that door.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I don't know. Since I brought that up, though, let me ask you about that. We already talked about Pitt out of the ACC. Again, we're in Penn State country, so there are going to be few tears shed over the Panthers missing the NCAA tournament. But if I take off my blue and white glasses for a moment and try to come at it objectively, I felt like they should have been.
Yeah, I did too. And the same holds for the Big East. I think they only got 3 teams in.
That's what I was going to ask about.
I thought that was
next.
one of the better conferences this year. I thought there were a lot of evenly matched teams. I was surprised that he didn't get in. I'm surprised that St. John's didn't get in. Unbelievable.
And yet, again, to talk about who got in and who didn't, and it was a really interesting conference tournament year because there were 5 upset conference champions who earned automatic bids and really wreaked havoc on the bubble. But, you know, we both thought that St. John's probably should have been in, talking about Rick Pitino. And and we both agreed that UVA should not.
Yep.
The Cavaliers should have been in the tournament at all, and they validated that by getting bounced in one of those 2 fake play-in games.
Oh yeah, but I've heard someone say, and I think I like the idea that if you lose in your conference tournament, you get more rest. You're still going to be in the tournament, but you get some more rest.
Yeah, so, I agree. I agree with that.
With the 5 teams that lost, they can be a lot more rested than the teams that went on. So
that's your boys at Wazoo.
Oh yeah,
plenty of time to regroup and chill out.
Oh yeah,
because they didn't have to play those extra games.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the South region. Oh, well, let me ask you one other thing before we get into that. So we brought up Pitt and St. John's, 2 teams that were right on the bubble and got shut out, and they were invited to participate in the NIT and declined. Your thoughts?
They both declined?
Yes.
Well, I think it's a team decision. If the team doesn't want to play, that's fine.
I don't think it's the same as like opting out of a bowl game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like all due respect, I know Penn State has had some nice and very fun runs to the NIT title over the last 10, 15 years.
Oh yeah.
But there's not a limited amount of prestige attached to competing in the NIT, and if the team doesn't want to do it, fine. The other point being made is that a transfer portal opens up right in the midst of when you would be preparing your team to compete in this kind of also ran tournament. And if you're a team that fancies yourself as a program belonging in the NCAA tournament, you're more worried about retooling for the next season than you are about winning the NIT or competing in the NIT. So I don't have a huge problem with it.
I don't know.
For those of you listening in State College, you were tuned into 98.7 The Fox, the WXFS, which is tough to say, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
XFS, WXFS, Pleasant Gap State College, America. And if you're coming to us online, you can see as we're breaking down our brackets here, I have had to, please don't laugh at me, I had to break down and put the reading glasses on.
I do that.
Especially to read this one Goon sent me, this like 4-point font type on this on the bracket. So let's go, Mike, to the South region here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, and we'll start at the top with Houston, the 1 seed, versus Longwood, another school I had never heard of until they made the tournament.
Yeah, Houston easily wins that game. I don't know Longwood. I agree.
I know you're high on Houston this year, right? You like them a lot.
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Another intriguing 8-9 matchup with some off the court drama connected to it.
Yeah.
In both the men's and the women's tournament. And let me cut myself off to mention, I haven't said this once. Tonight, 6 o'clock at the Bryce Jordan Center, the Penn State Lady Lions are taking on George Mason in the first round of the WBIT. Penn State is very similar to some of those Big East teams we talked about, a well-qualified bubble team that just came out on the wrong side. By all accounts, the first team left out of the women's field of 64. Penn State's a 1 seed, could potentially host up to 3 home games in this tournament. So if you're looking for something to do tonight, tickets are very reasonably priced. Go on out, create a home court advantage for the Lady Lions, who are back in the postseason for the first time in a long time. This will be a nice building block for the program. Penn State, George Mason tonight at 6 p.m. Back to the South region of the bracket. The 8-9 matchup is Nebraska versus Texas A&M. This is repeated in both the men's and the women's tournament, Mike.
Oh, that's
and Trev Alberts, the Nebraska alum, who was their athletic director, the guy who hired Matt Rule to coach their football program.
He left, right?
He just left to go to Texas A&M for a boatload of money. In the words of the great Krusty the Clown, they backed up a dump truck of money to his house, and he wasn't made of stone. Despite being a Cornhusker at heart, he is now professionally an Aggie.
That's amazing.
Who you got in this one?
I have A&M, because once again, I don't
fade the Big Ten.
I don't like the Big Ten. No.
I actually like Wisconsin's team this year. Despite, I was saying before, I'm down on Illinois because I watched them lose to Penn State, despite A&M beating Penn State.
Oh, that's right.
That was kind of A&M is another one of these teams that has gone on a roller coaster ride. They were really well thought of, and then they tailed off
Yep.
and then played just well enough to get back into the tournament. So I am not a big believer. I was not super impressed with them, to be honest, when I watched them play Penn State back on Thanksgiving Day. Now I understand like teams are a lot different from where they were at the beginning of the season to the end, but just following the arc for Texas A&M, I'm not buying
And
it.
actually, Nebraska had a good Big Ten tournament. I thought they looked really good. They're pretty good throughout the tournament. So we'll see. I like A&M. You like Nebraska?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? I'm sorry. I said I liked Wisconsin's team.
I know.
I meant
Nebraska.
I meant I like Nebraska.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, I just want to see Goon has A&M there also.
Okay.
So I'm the lone Cornhusker believer in that one. But it doesn't matter. I think the winner of that game is going to lose to Houston. You in agreement?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So let's see what Goon thinks. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
The same. Okay. So now talking about Wisconsin, I have them over James Madison.
JMU.
Okay. Do you really?
Yes.
That's your 512 that you love. That's your Grand Canyon, huh?
That's right.
Or who's the other 512?
JMU. Come on, sleeper team. Come on, JMU. Let's go.
UAB.
Oh, who else we have? I have Duke next up.
Duke over Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Catamounts.
Yeah.
Versus the Blue Devils. So again, the Catamount is some sort of like cat type creature,
okay.
I believe. I think. I don't know.
And a Blue Devil is like
a blue devil is a devil who just happens to be. I mean, that's like a supernatural being.
Look
with
out!
a pitchfork
out,
and everything.
Catamounts.
Yeah.
Look out,
okay.
Catamounts.
So, all right. Now, here's I think this is another one of the like most interesting first round games.
Oh, yeah.
I love this. The 6-11 in the South is 6 seed Texas A&M.
Texas Tech.
Sorry. Texas Tech versus the 11 seed NC State. And I love the story of NC State. I got them winning.
Oh, good. I have Texas Tech.
Yeah, I figured. I could see it in your eyes. You know,
they just played 5 games in 5 days. So I figured maybe they're worn out.
Do you know what I love? I love the way this team recalls the ghosts of the Survive and Advance Jim Valvano team. Now, I don't think they've got it in them to go all the way.
But that's a good.
But I don't think the run is over yet. I've got NC State.
That's a nice story, actually. It really is.
Kentucky versus Oakland in the 3-14. I've got the Wildcats winning there.
Yep. Also.
Okay. Now, here's another interesting one, a super interesting game. You've got the 7 seed is Florida, who has had a very good regular season. It is a really good team.
Yep.
Versus Colorado, who came on strong and just bullied their way into a bubble spot. But really, with their performance in the Pac-12 tournament, despite falling short of the title, I like it. I like the mojo that is going on in Boulder right now. I got the Buffaloes.
I have the Florida Gators.
That was one of the last games I picked in my round of 32. I think it's one of the toughest ones to pick. I could have very easily gone Florida there, but I went Colorado. Maybe I bet with my heart on that one.
Maybe, okay. All right.
And wrapping up the first round in the South region, Marquette facing the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Marquette. I like Marquette.
I like Marquette's team this year as well, a lot. Okay, so let's see how we match up with the Goon. I already previewed that a little bit. He's got Houston versus Texas A&M, Wisconsin versus Duke, NC State versus Kentucky, and Florida versus Marquette.
Okay.
So he's with me. He likes the Wolfpack. You're not buying it. I mean, I get your logic. They're tired out because they played 5 games in 5 days. Yeah. Okay. Can I just admit something? Again, so I've been talking about I'm wearing the reading glasses, and we're in a low light situation. I had ocular surgery a few years ago, and so like I had to. It's a long story. Basically, I had to pick a trade-off. Did I want to not have to wear glasses while I drive and do most things, but do reading glasses, or the other way around? And I said, yeah, I'll deal with the reading glasses. Low light. I thought, you know what? It's a live show. Do I really want to admit that I screwed up? And I at first I was like, no, I don't want to admit it. I'm just going to admit it. I'm human fallibility. I was looking at the wrong line when I was looking at that Nebraska Texas A&M game. Look, you can see it right here. I have Texas A&M. We all 3 of us picked the Aggies. But I still don't like them. I still don't like that team. But I did actually pick them to beat Nebraska because I like them even less, and I don't like the Big Ten. But anyway, okay, so let's talk about our Sweet 16. I'll give you my teams, Mike.
Okay.
And you can tell me how they match up with yours.
Okay.
I have Houston over A&M. I have Duke advancing past Wisconsin, although I would not be shocked if it went the other way. Again, I like NC State, and I have them in the big upset over the Kentucky Wildcats, who I don't love. I think there's a lot of turmoil and a lack of focus around that program right now. I don't like Kentucky to go deep into this tournament. They have been an early exit team more often than not of late, and so I went with the Wolfpack, and I have Marquette over Colorado.
The only difference, I have Kentucky. The other three are the same.
Okay. All right. And so I'm going to check and see how we match up with the Goon. He has Houston over Wisconsin. He has Wisconsin beating Duke.
Okay.
And he actually, like me, has NC State advancing to the Sweet 16 to face Marquette.
Okay.
So as we've done with the other three regions, Mike, let's do it. Let's do your Elite Eight and then your Final Four team out of the South.
Elite Eight. I have Houston and Marquette.
Me too.
Okay.
And in the Final Four,
I have Houston.
Yep, me too. Me too.
All right.
So to revisit where I was at, Auburn and Arizona sort of a 4. And I like by the way, just in general, I like the teams that are on the 4 line in all 4 regions this year. I think there are some really good teams on the 4 seed. So we've got Duke is a 4 seed, right?
Yep.
Auburn is a 4 seed. I love Auburn this year. I really like that. Alabama's a 4 seed. Goon has them in the Final Four. Yep. Very, very good 4 seed. And Kansas will get there in the Midwest. The 4 seeds, I think, all have an opportunity to do some damage this year.
Yeah.
And so I had a 4 seed in Auburn already, and I had a 2 seed in Arizona. I'm like, I got to have a 1 seed in here. Who's the 1 seed whose path I feel the best about? And Houston was that team.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I ended up going with Houston in the Final Four out of the South region. So let's see where Goon is at in this one, and then we'll jump to a break. So Goon had Houston facing off with Wisconsin, and he had Houston advancing.
Okay.
And he's actually the same as us.
Yep.
Even though, like me, he had NC State making it to the Sweet 16. Their Cinderella run finally ends there. He had Houston and Marquette in the Elite Eight out of the South region, and he has Marquette in the Final Four. I do like Marquette. I like Marquette's team a lot this year. This is probably the best team they have had in a very long time.
And the Big East has 3 good teams. They have Creighton, Marquette, and UConn. So I think they're quality teams there, that's for sure.
Should have had more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It should have.
So we're going to jump to a break here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are at Quaker Steak and Lube. We will be talking more NCAA basketball on the other side of the break. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Your hands, busboy. Your wings suck. I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
The Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show live on the web and on 98.7 The Fox here in Happy Valley. We're coming to you live from Quaker Steak and Lube. We've got NCAA wrestling and NCAA basketball on all the TVs here, so come on out and join us. It's a great place to be and to enjoy two of the best sports days in the year,
no question.
Mike the Mailman, especially if you are a college wrestling fan and especially if you're a Penn State wrestling fan.
Yep. This is a good time to be around. Yep.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm Chris Buchanani. He's Mike the Mailman. We're filling in for Ironhead and Goon. We will get some housekeeping stuff out of the way right out of the gate. A reminder that tonight here in State College at the Bryce Jordan Center, tipping off at 6 p.m., the Penn State Lady Lions at 1 seed in the first round of the WBIT, taking on George Mason. The ladies deserve a great home court advantage from the local Penn State fan base. So please, if you are able, bring the family out, get some tickets, have a night out. It's a 6 p.m. tip-off, so you can get home at a reasonable hour, support the women's basketball team. Jeff, the Ironhead Byers, obviously out in Kansas City, calling the NCAA tournament, which you can hear and stream live. The best way to do it, hear Ironhead bring you the wrestling action by the Nittany Lions and all around the national tournament. He does such a great job. You can hear that at gopsusports.com. And the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors, of course, starting with the good folks at Lion Country Kia and our friends here at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. We want to thank Sioka Motors. And we also want to thank our newest sponsor, Timberland Federal Credit Union. And so if you live, work, or worship here in Center County, you can take advantage of all the great offerings of Timberland Federal Credit Union. So check them out at tfcu.com. And we'll get back into it here. The NCAA tournament, Mike, we've been breaking down our picks in the bracket, and we're down to our final region, comparing them to the Goon, who took some flyers. I mean, as a review for folks who are just tuning in, I went a little crazy with my final four. I got a 4 seed, the Auburn Tigers, coming out of the East, and the 2nd seeded Arizona Wildcats, and then the 1 seed Houston coming out of the South. Mike, I think you also have Arizona and Houston, but you have Illinois coming out of the East.
Yeah,
Despite your disdain for the Big Ten overall, you like the Fighting Illini.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Now, contrast our Final Fours with Goon, who's got the 1 seed UConn coming out of the East, I think. Yeah, the East. So, can't fault him there. He's got the 4 seed Alabama out of the West and 2nd seeded Marquette. I mentioned this before the break, but again, I just want to reiterate how much, Mike, I love the 4 seeds.
Oh, yeah. You said that.
I mean, so Auburn, Bama, Duke, and Kansas that's a really, really strong group of 4 seeds. I could see multiples of those, pulling some upsets in terms of seeding and doing some real damage. So Kansas, the 4 seed in the Midwest region, our last to go through our picks. So let's start with it. And here it is, Michael. The 116 in this region, immediately on death watch, are the Purdue Boilermakers. Like the original. I mean, this is not an incredibly creative joke.
No,
but I have said that they should change their name from the Boilermakers to the Bracket Busters because dating back to my time in high school, Mike,
I know.
Purdue has ruined more brackets for me than any program in college basketball.
And it's like I keep picking them. I still have Purdue winning that opening round game, which is okay. They should.
I do too. Despite the fact that they fell to a 16 seed last year, and that I am in no way a believer in Matt Painter in the postseason. No. In no way.
No way.
I will extend them the credit for being able to get past Grambling in the first round.
Yep.
It's cool that Grambling's there. I love to see the HBCUs do well. It's great that they get to make an appearance in the tournament. They're not getting past Purdue. No. That would be a level of stunning that exceeds even the 116 upset that happened last year. For it to occur 2 years in a row to the same team would just be, I mean, Purdue should just shut down their program.
That should. Yeah.
Another interesting 8-9 matchup. Utah State, who is 27-6, a perfect example of one of those, quasi-brand mid-major teams that you question the quality of competition versus a team that plays in, one of the most rigorous college basketball conferences in the country, the Big 12 and TCU. So Utah State, the 8, TCU, the 9. Who you got?
I have Utah State.
I do too.
Okay.
Yeah, I went back and forth on that one a little bit, but, I think sometimes, despite the fact that you may want to discriminate against the teams from the smaller, quote-unquote, conferences, the lesser conferences, whatever you want to call them, maybe with each passing year, the Big 12 lurches closer and closer to that status, but they're still great in men's basketball. But I've got Utah State in that one. Okay, so moving right along the 5-12, here is Gonzaga versus McNeese State. Who you have in this one?
That's Gonzaga. That's a team close to my heart. I've always liked Gonzaga in this tournament. I really always have.
When I mention Gonzaga, who's the first player you think of? Does anyone come to mind?
No.
Okay, so for me, always, the player I think of first is John Stockton.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Now,
wow.
Now they've had like dating back almost 20 years ago now to when, they've had this interesting arc of being, for a while, a Cinderella team.
Yep.
Because they would be underseeded and they would win a few games. And then, that helped build their brand and attract better recruits. And, now they're almost more to the point where, like, they constantly get the benefit of the doubt. And if anything, they underwhelm a little bit. And it may be Mike the Mailman. It's been essentially the same program the whole time. The only thing that has changed is expectations. But long before any of that happened, John Stockton was one of the best point guards in the NBA. Like I've mentioned multiple times, my love for 80s and 90s NBA. And so even though I hated the Utah Jazz and hated Karl Malone and hated John Stockton, and he was a super dirty player who finished his career with 0 rings. Thanks very much. I saw recently, Mike, that the Wi-Fi password at the Utah Jazz Arena is Jordan pushed off.
Oh, yeah?
That's great. So,
that's really funny.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The Bulls have, 2 championship trophies, and you guys have a clever Wi-Fi password.
That's right.
So, all right, you're welcome to it. But Stockton was one of the great players of that era.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a Gonzaga alum, and I always remembered seeing they would flash up his alma mater, on a graphic or in a video game or something, and I thought, what's Gonzaga? I've never even heard of this place. So, like, John Stockton, I always think of, and I did, in fact, pick Gonzaga to get by McNeese in the first round. So, going back to my love for the 4 seeds now, the 4-13 in the Midwest is Kansas versus Samford.
Yeah. I think Kansas is not going to be as good as they could because I think their center, the big dog, is
injured.
Yeah. But still, it's still Kansas. So they're
good enough to get past Samford.
Yeah.
But if in fact Gonzaga does advance to the field of 32, That is an unbelievable second-round game.
Oh yeah,
Kansas versus Gonzaga, even minus the star player.
Oh yeah,
for the Jayhawks.
That's great.
Another super interesting game. This is another one of my favorite games. It is just tipping off right now. Is the 6-11 in this region? The South Carolina Gamecocks. SEC had been well represented. In this year's tournament. They've really elevated their basketball the last several years down in the Southeastern Conference. Which I guess is easy when you're just flush with cash, right?
That's right.
And you're not worried about like supporting 32 athletic programs like we are at Penn State.
That's right.
You can funnel more money into your so-called revenue sports. South Carolina faces the Pac-12 champion Oregon Ducks.
Well, I went with the mascot thing we taled about.
Okay.
Gamecock or duck? I'm sorry. I got to go with the Gamecocks this time.
Yeah, it would actually. I think it would be illegal if you had those two fight. But yeah, indeed, one of the reasons why is it would not be a close competition. I actually went with the Ducks. I like that. Again, there's the 5 games in 5 days theory.
That's true.
That they should be tired.
Yeah.
But that was another one I felt could go either way. I thought, no, I like the mojo Oregon's got going on. But actually, the more and more I think about it, and I think about them having had to, go through the rigors of winning a conference tournament, maybe that would have tilted me back in favor of South Carolina if I thought about it more.
I don't know if you ever watched
that should be a close one.
I don't know if you ever watched a game played at Oregon. That's the worst basketball court I've ever seen. You don't know.
You don't like it?
That basketball court. I have no clue where the free throw line or the 3-point line. It's like a jungle. Or
I love it. that Lost in the Woods hardwood. Man, I love it.
Okay.
I love that court. I think it looks so cool. I like that level of creativity, especially in college.
We'll see it next year when Penn State is out there. Right?
Yeah. That's going to be. They're going to have a big logo on this on the floor starting next year.
Oh yeah.
Blue Jays of Creighton versus your favorite, the Akron Zips.
Yeah, I know. I do like Creighton, but I like the Big East teams there.
Yeah, even though, despite the zip code connection,
I know that's my second favorite team because of the Zips.
You're fading Akron.
I know.
Is what you're telling me.
I am.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I like them also a lot. I was talking about Virginia could not get past Colorado State, so it will be Colorado State versus Texas in the 7-10 matchup in the Midwest region. Who you like coming out of that one?
I have Texas going there.
I do also. I like the story of Colorado State.
Yeah.
I think Texas is just too much.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for the Big 12 as a basketball conference.
And now I have my favorite number 2 seed is Tennessee. I really like Tennessee this year.
Yes, so they are facing the Purdue Slayer, St. Peter's.
That's right.
Who is gone from a 16 seed last year to a 15 seed this year. But I like Tennessee a lot. Am I right, Mike, that last year you and I were like super high on Tennessee and Arizona, right?
We were exactly.
And here we are again, like morons, just coming back for more. I had the balls winning.
Groundhog Day all over again.
Yeah. I think there is like a probably like 0.04% chance of it happening, but it is set up that if everything went just right, you could have an Auburn, Tennessee national championship game.
Wow.
And most people wouldn't care about this, but if you were a long time college basketball fan, to see, first of all, SEC teams hate each other on general principle when they meet in the wild. But to see Bruce Pearl versus Tennessee for the national championship would be so great. Like, if we could just get all the upsets necessary to make that happen, I would be a happy camper. That would be an incredible story. I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
but
that'd be fun.
Bruce Pearl versus Tennessee would be amazing. Okay, so let me just see how our picks match up against the Goons here on his own show, the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show, which is live at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College, as we are every Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 5 p.m. online and here in Happy Valley on 98.7 The Fox. He also likes Purdue to beat Grambling. Goon also went with Utah State. So I think we're in total alignment there, right?
We are. Yep.
Someone had to do it. Someone had to go 5-12 upset of Gonzaga. He took McNeese State.
Yeah, they're not a bad team, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
But look, crazy things happen.
Oh,
in
yeah,
March.
absolutely.
I didn't pick a ton of upsets this
No,
year, big upsets. I don't know. We've had so many zany tournaments in a row. I kind of feel like we need regression to the mean
I think you're
this
right.
season. I don't know. That's just my
Absolutely
gut feeling. He does have Kansas advancing past Samford. He agrees with you. He likes South Carolina over Oregon, Creighton over Akron, Texas over Colorado State, and Tennessee over St. Peter's. So we're pretty close. I think the biggest area of disagreement is him taking McNeese over Gonzaga.
Right.
And you and he both like South Carolina over Oregon, whereas I have the Ducks. So let's talk about our Sweet 16. Again, why don't you give me your 4 teams, and then I'll give you mine.
I have Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
I have Gonzaga.
Okay.
Creighton and Tennessee. That Creighton and Tennessee matchup, I think it would be a great, one of the best games of the tournament.
I would love to see it. I agree.
I like those 2 teams.
Yeah, you and I are in alignment on 3 of those 4 teams, including on Creighton, Tennessee, which I'm really hoping for. I have Purdue winning, but I have Kansas over Gonzaga. Again, despite the injury.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm not super high on Gonzaga. I thought briefly about taking the McNeese upset that Goon picked, but I'm going to go with them to go just 1 game in.
All right.
Or 1 victory in, we'll say. Okay, let's see. We'll talk about our let's look at Goon's Sweet 16 and just see what he picked. So he is with me. He has Purdue versus Kansas.
Okay.
So all of us picked Purdue at least to redeem themselves insofar as they get to the Sweet 16. Now, they don't care. At Purdue, their national championship or bust. But from my perspective, it's like, hey, guys, could you not get out of the first round? Could you not suffer like an unbelievably embarrassing loss? Like if you lose in the Sweet 16, you're at least respectable, right? Like you don't look like a complete clown car operation if you lose in the Sweet 16, which is this Purdue. This predates Matt Painter. It predates Zach Edey. This is just like their brand.
Oh yeah,
is to be overhyped and underperform when it comes to the NCAA tournament. So yeah, we've all got them in this Sweet 16 at least, and Goon is with me. He has them facing Kansas. Now for him, he had Kansas beating McNeese, so it's probably an easier pick than if it's Kansas Gonzaga as a 5-4. He is South Carolina getting into the Sweet 16 and facing Tennessee.
Wow.
So again, Goon a little divergent.
Wow. Yes. Wow.
So now Midwest region, Mike the Mailman, give me your Elite 8 teams and who gets into the Final 4.
I have Purdue and Tennessee.
Interesting, huh? Purdue in the Elite 8.
Yep.
And who wins that matchup?
Purdue. I have fallen in love.
For our 98.7 The Fox listeners, I am shaking my head. You've fallen in love with Purdue. Huh?
They are due.
I was just gonna say, is this another analog of the Arizona theory? Like they've face planted so many times.
Yep.
Mr. Trends to Treasure himself
is
betting with his heart and not his head. I don't know. I don't know, Michael.
Look out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I again, just because I cannot believe in Purdue, and I felt like I was extending them the benefit of the doubt, getting them to the Sweet 16, and I'm like, this far, no farther. Kansas, everybody's writing them off. They're saying you guys gamed the committee to get your seed by lying about injuries. I think they're motivated. I think they're well coached. I think they're talented. And I could not believe less in Purdue when the going gets tough. So I have Kansas advancing to the Sweet 16, facing Tennessee. And as we've discussed, I love the Vols. I've got them in the Final 4. Okay. So that's a KOD. Sorry, Tennessee fans.
Wow.
So let's match it up with the Goon and the 3-point font on the bracket he sent me. So on go the cheaters again. So Goon, he agrees with you. He's got Purdue beating Kansas. Purdue in the come on now. Sorry. Purdue in the Elite 8. I'll just go ahead and give you the punchline. He's got them in the Final Four also.
Mm-hmm.
Goon's got Purdue in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has South Carolina beating Tennessee, and so Purdue beats them.
Wow.
So is Elite Eight out of the Midwest region is Purdue and South Carolina, and the Boilermakers advance to the Final Four.
That's wild.
I can actually buy into, truly, I can buy into and understand the quote unquote their due philosophy.
Yep. But
nevertheless,
I know.
I just can't do it. I cannot do it. Fade the Big Ten.
Although last year I went to was it 2 years ago? I went to the Penn State at Purdue football game. Penn State beat them in the last minute or something.
That was a great game.
Well, I got to see the basketball ring. So I said, and that's a good place to watch a game. It looks like, So we got to sneak in there. So I said,
at the very least, I can say I did not see them lose to Penn State in basketball this year. They more often than not took care of their business this season, and they've got one of the best players in the sport. They've got, they've got a super talented roster.
Yep,
a great coach.
Yep.
History, resources, everything on their side, except for their unbelievably long and consistent track record.
That's amazing.
Of urinating down their leg.
Oh yeah.
Once tournament time comes around.
Can't imagine what the pregame talk is going to be when he gives the guys the painter says, "Hey, this is enough of this stuff already." He's been through it so many years. It's like, hey, come on.
I do wonder, and they bring back a fair number of guys from last year's team. Mm-hmm. Psychologically, how do you handle that? Do you want to keep? I mean, you almost want to flush it and move on.
Yeah.
So one school of thought says, new year, new team, new season. Don't let St. Peter's beat you twice.
Yep.
Just forget about it and move on.
Yep.
But the other side says it's then becomes the 800-pound gorilla.
Yep.
And if you leave it unacknowledged, it's like it's conspicuous in its absence in whatever you mentioned in your pep talk.
Yep.
What would you do? Do you think you would talk about it, or do you think you'd just bury it?
Yeah, I would bring in a psychologist and say, hey, listen to this guy talking, and I'll say, but I think he should talk about it. Yeah, definitely.
I would too.
Oh yeah,
I would too. I don't you know what? It happened.
Yeah,
it happened, and it's embarrassing.
Yep.
And I think you have to just say, guys, that's your legacy right now, and the only way that's not going to finish with your legacy is if you go out there and take it. And the example I would use is UVA.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, that's
who followed the exact same path that Purdue wants to be on.
That's true.
To say this team was a national laughingstock,
right.
even more than we are, because they were the first 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed. Every year people talked about there are so many tournament upsets, but a 16 has never beaten a 1, and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen, and that team that does it is going to live in infamy.
Yep.
And then it was number 1 seed UVA. I think they might have even been the number 1 overall seed in that tournament, although I'm not positive. But the next season they came back and won it all.
Yep.
And so what are they remembered more for? Maybe both, but at least they have that redemption arc.
That's a great
and that's the example I would say. Guys,
that's great.
You will live with this up until you give everyone something better to remember you for. The path is out there.
Yep.
Now you just got to go and take it.
That's a very good. Well, that's a good. Wow, that's a good motivation speech.
Thanks, Mike. Maybe I'll give you, Brandon, and Kevin a speech like that before football season starts.
That's great. That's good.
You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, coming to you live from Quaker Steak Lube, as we do every Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 5 p.m. online and locally here in Happy Valley on Fox Sports Radio, 98.7 The Fox. We're so happy to have you joining us here, however you are listening, whether you are online on Facebook or YouTube or X, the Everything app, or you're on the radio or the live stream of 98.7 The Fox. We encourage you to come on out, as a lot of other folks have, to enjoy NCAA wrestling, NCAA basketball here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Great deals, great wings, great sauce selection, great beer selection, great people. It's everything you could want. And one of the low-key best advantages of the Lube that I always play up Mailman, is the number of flat screen TVs and the great view you have to multiple screens,
no matter where you are,
no matter where you're sitting.
Yep.
And you need that today with all these games going on, especially when the wrestling action kicks back up. Chris Buchanani and Mike the Mailman of the obligatory PSU pregame show, which you can see before Penn State football games in the fall. And you can check out our online partner at forthebloggy.com. We're filling in for Goon and Ironhead. Ironhead out in KC. You can hear him call Penn State's pursuit of a national title at NCAA Wrestling Finals at gopsusports.com. The Penn State Lady Lions in the first round of the WBIT, the number 1 seed in that tournament, taking on George Mason, tipping off tonight at 6 p.m. at the Bryce Jordan Center. Please, if you are able, bring the family, get out there and support the Lady Lions, give them a great home court advantage. We are going through our NCAA March Madness brackets here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. And Mike, we've gone through all 4 regions.
Yep, we did.
So let's revisit our respective Final Fours. We'll talk about the teams Goon picked, and then we can talk about our championship game and our overall national title winners for 2024. Brackets sure to go wrong. I'll review. I'll give you my Final Four.
Okay.
I love the 4 seeds, as I've said, and I've got Auburn, the 4 seed in the East, pulling the upset in the Sweet 16 over UConn and coming out of the East region as that region of the bracket's representative in the Final Four. In the West, I have the 2 seed Arizona Wildcats to face the Tigers of Auburn. I have Houston, the 1 seed in the South, winning that region. And I have another 2 seed, the Tennessee Volunteers, coming out of the Midwest. Your Final Four.
Well,
Review. Who you got?
I'm really down on the Big Ten this year, but I do like the 2 top.
You hate the Big Ten so much. You only have 2 Big Ten teams in the Final Four.
Exactly right. I have Illinois on the east side, Arizona down on the west, Houston in the south, and have Purdue in the Midwest.
You and I both love Arizona.
I know.
Bad news for Wildcat fans.
Yep.
And I think, and I know you really like Houston. You said you've gotten a chance to watch them a fair amount this year. And we both like Tennessee, even though I think you have them losing in the Elite Eight, right?
Yep.
Yeah. To Purdue.
To Purdue, yep.
Okay, so Goon's Final Four. Interesting. He is UConn coming out of the East. And look, and let's be fair, this is just for fun, so I like to pick upsets. It's going to be very difficult to knock out UConn. That is a really, really good team. And credit to them bouncing back and having an even better season and really I think shouldering the weight of expectations with a plum.
Yeah, because last year they were like a 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah, they were not.
Yeah.
They had a fortunate path to get deep into the tournament, but to their credit, when it mattered, they played their best basketball. So coming into this season, sky high expectations of that team. Yep. And I mean, just consistently all year long, they answered the bell. So there's no reason to look at UConn and think this is a team that is going to get bounced, other than to say that it's tough to do it twice in a row.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So Goon's got UConn out of the East, facing his 4 seed, who he likes, is Alabama out of the West. And then he's got the 2 seed out of the South, Marquette, facing, like you, the number 1 seed in the Midwest, Purdue. So some interesting corollaries. We both like a 4 seed out of the SEC. I like Auburn. He likes Alabama. We both have, let's see. You have 2 1 seeds, and so does he. He has UConn and Purdue. You have Houston and Purdue.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see, where else do we match up here? It's interesting he's got Marquette in the Final Four. I do like Marquette's team a lot. If they can get into that game with Houston, I give them a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
But, okay, let's talk about our championship game. I have Arizona versus Tennessee.
I have the dream matchup, Arizona-Purdue. Both teams that have clawed their way up to this point.
That is like the battle for redemption.
You're right.
Is what you're saying.
Arizona and Purdue, why not?
So Goon, in his Final Four, has Let's see here. UConn facing Purdue.
Okay. All right.
So he has Purdue. Come on.
It's Purdue winning.
I have this so far championship game. So I got to bust his chops about this. Purdue in the championship. Now look, I'm going to eat my words. I am, laying Purdue's path to the championship game with rose petals here. But I just can't buy it. I can't buy it. So I've got Arizona, Tennessee. He's got UConn, Purdue, so 2-1 seeds, and you've got Arizona versus Purdue.
Yep. I have Arizona winning it all.
I do also.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You and I were both super high on
Wow.
Arizona.
Wow.
When I talked to you like Sunday or whenever it was, or maybe right before the selection, we were talking about this. Or no, it was Monday when we were at the cheese shop for Bill Clark's birthday. By the way, happy birthday to a true gem of the Nittany Valley.
Absolutely.
Bill Clark, longtime proprietor of W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters at the cheese shop, the original coffee roaster here at Penn State, and truly one of the best people in State College. The Big 8-0 and still going strong.
That's the best place in town by far. I love going in there.
Absolutely. I can't recommend it enough. Love the cheese shop.
Yep.
And love Bill and was happy to be there for his birthday. So you and I were chatting it up. And I could just tell the way you were talking about Arizona. I was like, I bet Mailman and I have it. At least they're going to the Final Four. I wouldn't be shocked if he picks them to win it all. Plus, I remembered how much we both loved them last year. And we're both suckers, just re-racking it. So, okay. So, and Goon has UConn repeating his national champions.
Okay, good.
So, boy, if you're a Purdue fan, that would be brutal.
Oh, yeah.
To finally get the monkey off your back, go deep into the tournament, make the title game, and lose. To be that close, you want to win it all.
Yeah, that would help. Wouldn't it, if they lost?
It would definitely help their reputation considerably. I don't know how much of a consolation that is if you're a Purdue fan.
That's true. But it's college basketball. So a lot of parity in college basketball. Really, a lot of good teams, a lot of good players.
So it was a fun season.
Oh yeah.
Who knows, Mike, with the way college sports is changing, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit to close out the show on the other side of the break, how much longer we're going to have this.
Yep.
I like Tom Izzo a lot. We talked about that. I got a soft spot for him, despite you and I both picking Mississippi State and being wrong.
Yep.
March is when he does his best work, and you see it again this year. I don't agree at all. I don't agree at all with what he said this week about, creating more opportunities for major conference teams to get in over mid-major winners. He said, I think people like the upsets in the first round and then not so much. No, I don't think that's true at all.
I don't either. Nope.
I think the possibility for the upsets, I think the chance for the Longwoods and the Grambling States and the St. Peters of the world.
That's the magic of the tournament.
That's what makes this appealing.
It is.
I think one of the things I love about these 2 days of the year especially is that I've talked to you before about how I do not understand, you and Horn, how you can bet money on sports. Because I already have so much emotional stake in the game. I can't imagine if I had actual capital on the line on top of it. And part of it is because these wins and losses, they just sit with you forever.
Yep.
My life changed substantially, qualitatively, for the better, forever. Thanks to a man named Nick Foles and Doug Peterson and the Philadelphia Eagles winning Super Bowl 52. And that win is going to stick with me forever. And had they lost that game, it would have stuck with me forever.
Yep.
What I love about these 2 days is it's just like you can have totally consequence-free emotional stakes.
Yep.
You can get completely suckered in on some team you've never heard of and will never think about again 48 hours from now. But for a short time, you can just ride that sugar high, and it's great.
Right.
And now we're going to rob American sports fans of that wonderful, unique experience for what? So we can get like 19-win Rutgers into the tournament and they can win one game. But forget about it. Like Izzo could not be more wrong.
No.
So I don't know how long this is going to last. Probably not very long. enjoy it while we got it, folks, because it is truly one of the greatest things in sports.
I agree. March Madness is the best.
By the way, I have terrible news for you, Mike. Man, Illinois is tied with Morehead State, tied up at 39 at the half.
Oh, yeah.
So that could be bad news. Good news for you folks, perhaps, is that there is still more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show with your B team, Bucanani and Mailman, coming up on the other side of the break. We are live at Quaker Steak and Lube. You are listening on 98.7 The Fox. We will be right back. Stay with us.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Wrapping up here at Quaker Steak and Lube on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Thanks for being with us. I'm Chris Bucanani. I'm joined by Mike the Mailman. We are filling in for Goon and Ironhead. Jeff, of course, is out in KC, bringing you all the action from Penn State, chasing another National Wrestling Championship at the NCAA Nationals. You can stream that live at gopsusports.com. A reminder for all the local folks in the listening area that tonight, at 6 p.m. at the Bryce Jordan Center, the Lady Lions are playing in the first round of the WBIT. Penn State is a 1 seed. They're facing George Mason. If they keep winning, they can play up to 3 home games, and it would be great to give them an excellent home court advantage. So if you can make it out there to support the Penn State Lady Lions, please do so. I think this game is a really important building block for Coach Keeger and her girls in terms of getting that program back on track to where it was in its heyday back in the early 2000s, Mike, when we really had it cranking here in Happy Valley.
Oh yeah, they were in there all the time. Yep.
Appreciate everybody tuning in via 98.7 The Fox here in Happy Valley. We love to have you here, and we love to have sports talk back on the air in Happy Valley. So really excited to be a part of that here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show.
Chris, have you ever been to many men's or women's lacrosse games?
I've only been to Panzer Stadium once or twice. It's like just been a bad time of year schedule-wise for me to get out to games, but they're fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and now tomorrow night, Penn State hosts the #1 team,
Northwestern.
And I tell you, for the men and the women, there's so many people come back for these games, former players and their parents. I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the following of the lacrosse. I really like it. I like lacrosse.
Yeah, lacrosse is college lacrosse in particular has went through like a big growth period. It might be starting to level off a little bit because again, there's a lot of uncertainty around what is going to happen with some of these non-revenue sports based on what's happening in the world of primarily college football. But yeah, I mean, it's not going anywhere at Penn State. The university's made a lot of investments in the program. They've been really competitive at the heartbreaker in the title game last year.
Oh yeah.
But on the men's side, I'm talking about. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see these other sports at Penn State, even though of course we are, and in my opinion, always should be. It's rightly known for football. Yeah. It's great to be known for across the board athletic excellence. They just put out, I think, 103 Big Ten academic All-Americans in the winter sports this year. Really, really impressive stuff.
It's just. We're so fortunate to be living here. We can go to see any of these any events anytime, which is great.
It's very cool.
I love it. Where else can they do that? I mean, it takes you 5 or 10 minutes at most to get to these places, and then we're there. It's like, I love it here.
Mike, you and I are. I was just telling somebody the other day that you are the only other person I've met who just independently has said the same thing I've always said, which is that I don't like to travel because when you live in the best place on earth, why would you ever want to leave, right? Everywhere else is a disappointment. Yeah. So, and that to me is one of the great selling points where you can have high-level college sports, fun, competitive college sports, no matter what your interest is, 10, 15 minutes away. Yep. And headlining that, of course, is right now is wrestling.
Oh yeah. And when I was working or when I was employed by the post office, not working, when I was employed by the post office, I was always amazed how many kids would come in and thank me for being at their event. I never knew that they saw me, like a fencing team member or a field hockey team. They just appreciate people come out and watch them play. I think it's really cool.
You are one of a kind, Mike, in many ways, and it has been a real pleasure getting to know and work with you in your retirement. I truly. I feel blessed to be your friend and to also be your colleague. It's been great to have you on Obligatory all these years. I think all four of us are just amazed that it's lasted as long as it has. And to hear from people who watch the show and listen to the podcast, it brings me a measure of joy to be able to entertain Penn State fans. But it's always fun. It's always fun to do it with you guys.
Thank you.
And I just think there aren't too many folks like yourself who, just kind of by virtue of your personality, you connected with generations and generations of people at a big school like Penn State. Yeah. And it's your interest in that kind of thing, like going out and supporting all the sports teams. That's what makes the difference. It's you're there. People see you're there.
It's wonderful. It's a great place.
I got to ask you, Mike. I just thought of this actually. Due to your ubiquitousness here in the community, have you ever been sought out for a political endorsement?
No.
No candidate has ever come to you and said, "Could I get the Mike the Mailman seal of approval?"
Some board of trustees have.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Several, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Matt McGloin and Al DeLevy. Hey, go vote if you're an alumnus, and you can vote for those guys. They have my seal of approval, and I think Mike's too. I don't know. I just spoke for you. Anyway, look, as I was saying to Kevin the other day, I know there's a bunch of people running. If you call yourself a Penn Stater and you're not going to vote for Matt McGloin to be on our board of trustees, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So. But anyway, I'm gonna avoid that third rail issue. But you're telling me nobody was running for mayor or Senate or something.
Just one mayor candidate, just one, and then but mostly the board of trustees.
Did you offer said endorsement or did you politely decline?
I politely declined
because you wanted to remain nonpartisan, right? You want to sully the Mike the Mailman brand by wading down into the muck of politics.
The money wasn't there.
Well done. Good man. Good man. Know your value. Know your value. Right. And so I'm going to wrap up today by talking about knowing your value. I don't know if you've been tracking this story real closely. Have you followed the story about Caden Proctor, the on-again, off-again Alabama offensive tackle?
No, huh?
Okay, so this young man, Caden Proctor, 2 years ago was the number 1 rated offensive lineman in his class, like a 5-star recruit, an Iowa native, commits to the University of Iowa. Big deal for that Hawkeyes program to land the commitment of a 5-star offensive tackle prospect. Now, as so often happens in these situations, you have a program that's punching above its weight a little bit with a kid who's being sought after by the best teams in the country. 2 days before National Signing Day, he flips his commitment from Iowa to Alabama, goes down to Tuscaloosa, and last season starts every game at left tackle for the Crimson Tide. Now, for a true freshman to be starting at such a critical position, you know that guy has got the goods.
Yep.
At Alabama, that's big time.
Yep.
So their season ends with a loss to Michigan in the playoffs, and Nick Saban announces he's retiring. Caden Proctor announces that he'll be entering the transfer portal. Shortly thereafter, after a round of fundraising by the Iowa NIL Collective, order is restored to the universe. The prodigal son comes home, and Caden Proctor is an Iowa Hawkeye via the transfer portal for about 2.5 months. Because this week, Mike the Mailman, Proctor announced that he would be re-entering the transfer portal at the conclusion of the spring and confirmed that he will be returning to Alabama. And the icing on the 21st century college football cake, he gets to keep the NIL money that he got while he was briefly an Iowa Hawkeye.
Wow. Shame.
Yeah.
Look, this NIL stuff, I'm sorry.
I am in favor, in principle, of the players who generate the tremendous financial value being reaped by the conferences and their member institutions, sharing in that largesse.
Yep.
So I am all for players being paid. Not so much players being paid by you and me. How about the people who they're making the money for? How about they do it?
Yeah.
How about more revenue sharing and less like 10 clowns on Twitter telling the world that it's the fault of people like you and me for not donating our $50 to NIL that we're losing to Ohio State. Well, if you want to beat Ohio State, you got to spend like Ohio State. It's not my job to pay the salaries of players who are generating income for Penn State in the Big Ten. That's on the Big Ten and Penn State to compensate those players.
Absolutely right.
Now, if some of them could monetize their NIL rights, great. But to use the ability for these guys to get paid NIL as a proxy for them to get the, whatever salaries or stipends they deserve and to offload that onto us, the fans, is total nonsense. It is one of the most amazing scams that anyone has ever applied. It's a Bernie Madoff level scam that has been perpetuated by the ruling class of college football onto us, the long-suffering hoi polloi. So it's got to end quickly. And Caden Proctor, in my mind, embodies everything that is just messed up with this transitional phase we are in right now from the old college football, which is dead, and the new college football, which is yet to be. That's all the time we've got today on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Thanks for being with us here on 98.7 The Fox. We'll be back next Tuesday at 3 p.m. I'm Chris Bucanani. He's Mike the Mailman. Take care of yourselves and each other. Be good, be safe. Penn State, go get another national title.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Your hands, busboy. Your wings suck. I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.